somewhere else. We want to thank you for having made us a TV of your choice, and we commit ourselves to ensure that we give you all the relevant information you need to know. Now in Good Morning Uganda, we are going to be looking at humanity in the times of COVID-19. We know these times have really proven that there's so much we can do for one another. They have made people who are once independent now dependent, and that calls for humanity. It's not something that many a times we prioritize as Ugandans, but at the end of the day, it's what defines us as a people. The human race is about humanity, showing acts of goodness, acts of sharing, acts of giving, acts of helping one another, more so at such a time. And joining me this morning are three lads, that is from Humanity Uganda, with whom we are going to be discussing so much regarding what Humanity Uganda has been able to do in this country. And allow me to greet them with a humble greeting that our Prophet Muhammad gave us or commanded us, which is Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good, at least my Islam have perfected some bit of words there, and I think that means peace be upon you.
Please.
Yes, and indeed peace be upon you, our viewer that is watching us this morning. I have Abubakari Mugaya. I think this is not the first time I've seen him, maybe somewhere trying to do acts of humanity. So you're most welcome, Abubakari, to the studios.
Thank you.
We also have, that is Chiwanuka Abudu. You're most welcome, Chiwanuka, to our studios as well. And of course, a common face, that is Ismail Nkutu. You're most welcome to our studios.
Thank you, Mr. Kilawa.
I'll begin with Abubakari. When we talk about humanity first in Uganda, well, what is this? Is it a non-government organization? Is it a group of well-wishers that come together? And what are you involved in?
Right, Robert, thank you so much. Humanity First, like you rightly put it, is a charitable organization, non-government organization that was started in the UK in the early 90s, but officially registered around 1995. Basically, Humanity First started as a relief organization responding to disaster relief. Disasters have struck this world in many parts of the world. You've heard of floods, you've heard of earthquakes, you've heard of famine, war, name them. So wherever a disaster strikes, Humanity First responds to such disasters in terms of emergency relief, emergency medicine, emergency shelter, and whatever is needed. So gradually, Humanity First took over other responsibilities. We are non-religious, we are non-sectarian, we are non-political. We help whoever is in need. And Humanity First looks after the poorest people of the world and the most vulnerable. So Humanity First, as we speak now, is established in over 60 countries throughout the world, Uganda inclusive. We're in Uganda, we're in Kenya, we're in Tanzania, the whole of East Africa, and many other African countries. We're in Europe, we're in South America, Asia, many Asian countries, and all that. So it is a non-government organization that responds to the needs of the poor people and vulnerable people. Talk of the disabled people, talk of the elderly, talk of women, talk of people cannot support themselves. So we do things that help out these people to equip themselves, to support themselves, as we shall be, looking at a number of programs as the program goes on. We shall be understanding it much better.
Chiwanuka, let's better understand Humanity First in Uganda. Like you said, like you're in 60 countries, but in Uganda, to be more particular, which specific areas have you created an impact? Because we know you can be everywhere but nowhere. So for Uganda's case, where can you say that, yes, these are areas we've been for this particular time, and this is the impact?
Thank you very much. Humanity First Uganda was established around 2007, and these were the times of the heavy rains in Soroti, and we started with, like he said, initially the very first project we start with is disaster relief. So where we're having emergencies, and like by the time you might organize a response, and it might be too late. So immediately first we started with disaster relief. Had to run out to those displaced people in Soroti, where the heavy rains caused flooding. People were displaced, lost their houses, lost their farms, nothing to eat, nowhere to sleep. And that's how Humanity First started with our headquarters in Budaka. And then we have offices here in Kampala, in Wandegea, on Plot 66 Bombo Road. And a number of other projects have been coming up. We have a number of them, because in Budaka, where we have the Institute Knowledge for Life, and very many other people who cannot afford any level of education, they can come to Humanity First. So this is how we've been, the different areas we've established, like he has said, from disaster relief, running to those people who are in a very bad state, where there is a form of emergency and they need help. Then we have institutes that have been built up, like in Budaka, in Chotela. Then we have orphan care, and like we are going to be talking about these different projects. So in a number of districts, Humanity First, we've already established in Uganda for these about 10 or 12 years that we've existed in the country.
Nkutu, how do you roll out your projects? How do you operate? You know, because we talk about humanity by word of humanity, more so now in the times of COVID-19, everybody is eager. Just in our segment there, we're discussing the relief fund by the Office of the Prime Minister, where everyone felt they are vulnerable. We all need, but the modus of how you're going to operate, the methodology. So what do you use? How do you reach to the people? How do you ensure that, yes, you have the poorest of the poor, or you have the most vulnerable in communities?
Well, thank you, Mr. Robert. As you've put it right, Humanity first of all, it is a charity organization, actually, which serve mankind, irrespective of gender and other attributes of the human being. Now, when we are working actually with the community, most especially we look at the need. We assess the need of the people, actually the way they need assistance. Now, we work with our 8 core programs. For example, the disaster relief. Most especially, you see, disasters, when they come, they destroy everything. Just like right now, we are in the disaster of this COVID-19 pandemic, where everything actually has been locked down and we are unable to operate. So when Humanity First is operating, it looks at the need, it assesses the need in the community. We work with the local leaders to see that actually the most vulnerable actually are brought up, and then we provide the need as required. For example, this disaster relief, we normally go to areas which have been struck by disasters, landslides, floods, most especially in the eastern part of Uganda, in Mbale, that is in Bududa, where most people actually are mostly affected by landslides. We go and provide them the relief aid, okay? And then when we come to other programs like the food security, you see, hunger is not an issue of charity, but is an issue of justice, and everyone actually need to be getting good feeding. So we normally work with the local communities, local leaders, to ensure that actually people can have access to food at any particular time by providing them seedlings, agricultural inputs, so that they can get the way which he can make them safe for making their own food. Right now in Uganda here, what we've done among the food security, we've coordinated with the number of people in different areas across the country to ensure that actually those people, where they are, actually can have what they can take back to their mouth, okay? giving them the tools, like the agricultural inputs, seedlings, goats, birds, okay, for rearing, and many others are there. Now, when we come to like orphan care, actually we've been looking at since now.
Maybe to get you more right, and for the benefit of our viewers, you're mentioning a bit of pillars. Are these pillars? What are these? Are they the 5 or 6 directions that you people concentrate on? So let's have them systematically, so that a person knows what are the priority areas that Humanity First focuses on. Then we can be able to dissect each and see how effective it has been. Yes.
Actually, these are 8 core programs, which Humanity First work with. There are 8 of them, like disaster relief, knowledge for life, orphan care, water for life. Then there is gift of sight. There is community care. There is global health. Okay, and food security. Humanity First, when it is operating, actually it goes through these 80 programs, reaching the most vulnerable in the community to ensure that every person actually has the right according to the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I love that. Maybe, and okay, you want to supplement something?
Yeah, on your question, like how do we be able to identify, because he has talked about it, but there's a very specific way that Humanity First operates, unlike other charity organizations, that Humanity First looks at equipping the local population itself. Like if it's in Uganda, let the Ugandans themselves, because it's me, it's you, who knows the very affected one of society. So when we go to the different 8 programs he's talking about, if it's knowledge for life, and we are looking for those who need to get education or orphan care, we'll reach down to those the local leaders themselves, and then they identify the ones, because there might be orphans but who have some other helping hands, and then there are those orphans who are totally disabled. So when we talk about water for life, the different boreholes that we are setting up in those other areas, it is the local team of Ugandans that will go down to establish. So first of all, the equipments we are getting, we are using are locally made. Then the manpower that Humanity First employs, it's local manpower. So the entire area, it builds a spirit of sustainability, that even if Humanity First pulls out, the people have been already set in a system of using the least or the little resources they have for the great benefit.
I agree with you, but then the biggest challenge is actually a number of charitable organizations will tell you, even when they're writing proposals, that we have an element of sustainability. But the disturbing moment is once that project comes to an end, still they fail sustainability. I've seen a couple of boreholes not constructed by Humanity First, no, but by a number of organizations. At the end of the day, they will tell you we have the local leadership that will ensure maybe they get some money to sustain the borehole. We have this. At the end of the day, Mugaya, these things, as soon as they depart, give them a few months. The boreholes now, you move around and they are half of what they were in terms of the materials used. One has gone with the handle, the other. And then at the end of the day, it's another charitable organization that will come and renovate and have them. So yes, you've talked about them using their labor. But when it comes to financial muscles, remember you're dealing with the poorest among the poor, the most vulnerable among the vulnerable. So how do you empower them for this sustainability level, where even sometimes raising a contribution of 10,000, 15,000 could be a problem?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. What we mean, and actually we must take pride in this, that the organizations we are talking about that come and rescue these people afterwards, that is Humanity First, because we've refurbished so many boreholes that we've found broken. You find a borehole that has not been functioning for the last 10, 15 years, and by the time you leave, people are enjoying the fresh water again. What do we do? By empowering, we mean when we take a borehole somewhere, for example, first of all, people should take interest in that project. There's taking a borehole in an area and you've not educated people about how it's supposed to be handled. People should own that borehole. That is empowerment number one. When we take a borehole in a given place, when we take a project somewhere, you've had, Robert, of programs where people have been given hay first, where people have been given what, and they sell them off. They have not understood the basics of the program. So what we begin with...
community call it sente z'abazungu.
What we begin with is we educate
meaning that this is foreign money. So there is somewhere someone who has
everybody should eat,
and they have given us. Even those bring the program are also eating. So let's eat it. The Lord has been merciful to us.
That impression is what we first have to clear from the people's mind if we have to move any steps. And we begin by holding workshops and seminars to educate these people about this project. We don't simply start a project. We hold a seminar, we hold a workshop, we train these people, we teach them. If I'm going to give you seedlings, for example, I'm going to give you an animal, I teach you about this program, this project. Why am I doing it? How are you able to sustain it? Because I'll be interested in finding a program still moving after 4 or 5 years, 10 years. I'll be interested in following up a program when it is still benefiting your children, even if you pass on. So this is what we are doing. We don't simply take programs out there, like you're saying, Sente za Bazungu. We are interested, because this money does not come from Bazungu only. Yes, some money comes from Bazungu, but this money is yours, this money is mine. Even the person we are giving, tomorrow we shall appeal to him to also give another person. So people should take interest. We make sure the empowerment we are talking about is we make sure they take interest in the projects that we give to them.
Well, I'll be going for a short break, and when we return, we'll look at one of the pillars, that is water for life. And greatly said, water is life. Though one person recently cracked a joke and said, if you do not sleep in those areas where when it rains, water becomes hell. But we are looking at water in the humanitarian approach, where people are craving, yearning for water. And Humanity First in Uganda comes out as a solution, and out of the goodwill of many people in Uganda and outside Uganda, they are able to bring a water source to you or refurbish one that has had challenges. Let's return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy a 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175 hash and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Thank you for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. You're still watching Good Morning Uganda Extra, and I have young lads. Actually, I'm about to ask them why I only have youth, but this is a generation for the youth, to ensure they partake of their future, their present day leaders, not the leaders of tomorrow. That is what one told me. That yes, it is our time is now, not the future. So if the time has come, here they are leading humanity in Uganda. And we're discussing a couple of issues of humanity in terms of COVID-19. Now, one of the pillars that you talked about that really interested me was water for life. Indeed, we know that a life without water could be very hard. Food, bathing, everything that is around water. How do you move with this great pillar of importance, which is Water for Life under Humanity Uganda. How do you roll this out? Is it achieved? How do we ensure that even maybe more can? I'll begin with Nkutu.
Well, thank you, Mr. Robert. As you put it very clear, water is life. And our program, Water for Life, actually ensures that every person in the community has access to safe drinking water, wherever he is. So our main priority is to see that no one is starving when it comes to water, because water is our main necessity when it comes to each and everything. We use it for human consumption. We use it even in different aspects of life. Now, what Humanity First does under Water for Life, actually, it digs boreholes, drills boreholes in different areas where actually people have no access to safe drinking water. Maybe if there has been a source where people have been sharing it with animals and even other resources which are not making them able to use the water in the safe way, Humanity First can go in a particular place and then it digs up a borehole so that people can get water through that hand pump. So we've covered the most areas in the country by putting up boreholes and new ones. We have built new boreholes, over 300 boreholes across the country. And then those ones which have been broken down, actually Humanity First Water for Life team can go in such places where maybe some of them have been put up by government and they broke down but they have not been yet refurbished. Humanity First can refurbish them so that it restores them for people to do what? To regain access to water through the boreholes. Now in the places where, you know very well that in Uganda we have many springs, but unfortunately that such springs where water is in such springs is not safe for human consumption. So we try to protect that spring by putting it up in a proper way so that people can use it and still get access to safe drinking water in the better way. Then in other places where actually they are dry and most especially rely on rainwater, what we normally do, actually we do water harvesting. Water harvesting in the tanks, for example, in the hospitals. If there is an hospital which actually lacks water, then we can have a water tank installed, even in schools, even in other public places where people can have free access to water. Then in other areas, what we do, we try to put up a system of water filtration so that water which has been actually contaminated by maybe any other thing, actually it is purified and people can gain access to safe drinking water. So the overall aim of Water for Life is to ensure that each and every person in the community has access to safe drinking water. That's why you will normally see that wherever Humanity First goes, it puts up boreholes for sustainability, because one way of making sure that people can have this water for a longer time is putting up a source which is safe. So that is the boreholes and other protected springs which we go on putting in different parts of the country. Yeah.
Well, Chiwanuka, I also want to know, yes, as you're still looking at Water for Life, one of the things is local involvement or ensuring that the citizens themselves, you know, Uganda have always had a challenge, and I want to believe we will be very far as a country, that how do you make these people understand that what you're giving them belongs to them? I'll give an example. One would think it's very obvious. Government has given people cows. I went to some village where a person had 2 cows and both were sick. And he told me, entire president, the cow that was given through poverty alleviation, if they delay, the cow will die. But it's the one milking, it's the one selling. Then if the cow maybe died in the village there, and there is no veterinary doctor to refuse them, he would still slaughter and sell the meat. So this component of owning, not to see people from Kampala, big vehicles, smartly dressed in these t-shirts, and one believes, okay, there is a donor somewhere. These guys have also gone and got it. And now they, you know, they don't see it as a favor to them. It's a favor to you because they're available so you can provide these services. So how do you bring that ownership?
Thank you very much. Like you had said before we went into the commercial break, usually people don't own, and I don't know how best I could put it, but it's just some little kind of illiteracy that might be, because what we do as Humanity First, like I was trying to let you know, there is something special with Humanity First. Actually, it is the very theme as to why we are running this global telethon. Like Humanity First UK International had to come out to the entire like why we are here. First and foremost, like you talked about the facilities, people need to know this, that the facilitation, the finances, they don't come from the Bazungu. The Bazungu are human. They come from us. When you come to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, when we are having our national events or even local events, even if you go to Budaka, Bududa, they are having their local event, they have invited their cultural leaders, religious leaders, any other people, they have come together. You will always see Humanity First with the shirts and then our boxes for donation. So that 1,000, that 500, that 10,000 you're going to put there, that's the very money that is going to establish a borehole somewhere. So this is the very reason we are here. And I would like to appeal to all the Ugandans out there that when you look into what Humanity First is doing, it is ours. So from the very finances that you donate to us, it is the very money that is going to reach down to give an education to that less the misfortunate one or any other orphan child in Uganda. Then when it comes to letting the people own what Humanity First gives them, like they were telling, we are going through our project of food security, and Humanity First, what we do before we give out anything, we call the beneficiaries, the people we have identified to come, if we are going to give them seeds, if we are going to give them any, even if they are animals or cows or goats, and then we let them know of the importance. Then we usually set a target. If we give you 2 goats or 3 or 4, we give you females and males. Then at the end of, if we set like we expect them to give birth in 1 or 2 years, then you're supposed to also give back. And you give back by giving someone else. So usually we can start like an example, like 10 goats. Mixed with males and females. So we give one family a female goat and a male goat, then another family. So at the end, we come, and then you're supposed to give back a couple. So when you give back, we also look for another family. So we keep track of that. So people who usually benefit in this scheme are those who own that responsibility. So if tomorrow we come, and then you're like, these goats for Humanity First, these cows, they are getting sick, so automatically they will die and you lose out and you'll not be enrolled. But we have farmers who have benefited from this, like if they're having plantations for banana plantations, and then we come back and we need those very plantations to give another farmer, and they are doing well, so it's going to benefit them, and then they are going to give someone else. So we keep on enrolling them continuously, and this is how Humanity First operates, that from a vulnerable person is going to become a donor. So that person is the very one we are talking to today, that please, when we reach out, if you see that you had 10 cows and now you're having 20, it's high time you called Humanity First and gave back at least 5, and then we give to someone
another
else.
person. Well, I love that continuity and of course feeling of responsibility that someone must get what I got, and I'm the person to give that because I was privileged. I think that, yes, in one way or the other does that. Then also another pillar that really has interested me, that is the orphan care, or care for the orphans, under Humanity First. We know not all people are privileged. At a certain time, death can strike. You don't know when, and of course someone can become an orphan. Mugaya, when you look at this pillar, I know you're dealing with the most vulnerable. the poor, and sometimes in these communities that have been disaster stricken. One of the hardest things we still have in this country is having the right beneficiaries. Many times these programs are there, but the would-be beneficiaries are exalted. I remember one time we had a key person in government who swindled money meant for orphans. And he braggantly said that, but I'm also an orphan. My parents also died when I was young. An orphan. After. So, what is the criteria under this program that you ensure you have the right people, and how do you carry this on?
Right. Thank you, Robert. Commenting about orphans, probably let me begin with the point you put across of people not owning these programs, you know, tending to give them back to the people who voted them, the entire president, like you said. The problem, Robert, becomes with identification of the real people who deserve these programs. I've heard, so you've been running stories on media of a household with the father and the wife that have given back quadruplets, for example. These are helpless people down there in the village. I'm just looking at a situation whereby if you took this crowd, such a family, they have given birth to quadruplets and they are helpless, they will take proper care because they need it. The problem with government programs, with due respect, is like you already put it, they don't reach out to the deserving people. Orphan care. We have a number of orphans, Robert, the world over. When you look at statistics, they put orphans in Uganda, for example, over 2 million children are orphaned as a result of war, as a result of disease, HIV, and many other such causes. So there are three types of orphans. My brother Abdul hinted on it briefly. So there are orphans that may not be taken to be needed because somebody has died, but this boy or girl has been left in the hands of an able guardian, for example. That is a different orphan. But we look at this orphan who has sometimes lost a father or a mother and has been left in the hands of an elderly, grandmother who has no help at all, living down there in the village, can't afford school fees, can't afford clothing, can't afford even a meal. It is hard. This year, during this COVID, there are stories that were run in newspapers in Katanga here, where an old woman had about 20 children, and she was claiming most of them were orphans, left to her by sons and daughters who have died. Such are the people we're looking at, These are children that have sometimes lost a mother and a father, typical orphan. And such a boy or a girl, when you reach out to them, whatever help you give to them will be appreciated. And what do we do with them? We take them to school. As we speak now, we are managing around 100 orphans in Uganda. We are paying for their tuition, we are feeding them, we are buying for them uniforms and other scholastic items they need in school. We are running at the primary level. At the primary level, we have educating them. We have been educating them between primary 1 and primary 7. And as we speak now, a batch of them are sat for primary living examinations, and they are graduating to high schools now. We are looking forward to financing them at the next level. So what we do is we look at, Robert, to answer your question directly, is we look out for the most deserving people.
Okay, the most deserving people. Well, another pillar that I want us also to focus on is gift of sight. This is another interesting area. Yes, some people carry out camps once in a while. I've had a number of people do that in celebration, in commemoration. You're celebrating 10 years of existence, 5 years of existence, let's carry out an optical clinic or something like that. So, Nkutu here, how do you carry out this gift of sight? Is it a continuous process? Is it on celebrations, as many do? So how do you and who do you target?
Thank you, Robert. As when we are working with the gift of sight, actually it is one of our core programs ensuring that people actually who are visually impaired, their eyesight is restored. Most especially, you'll see that every morning when you open, every time when you wake up, you always have two gifts, and those are your eyes. So when someone doesn't have, when loses eyesight, it means that he's now blocked cannot do anything. What we normally do, we go to places, we get these figures from the people we interact with in the community, the local leaders, the health centers, because this is where we can easily go and get the statistics of the people actually who are visually impaired. And then now when we get the such information, we call out to a camp where we can carry out the screening of the people who have different eyesight problems or vision problems, okay? Now, when we identify the people actually who have different problems, now we can carry out different gift of sight services like cataract surgeries. Those one now who need, if we have carried out the screening, there are those who may need the cataract surgery. We can organize a surgery a program for them. Those who may need maybe just prescription glasses, okay? And we have identified that now according to the screening, now this one just needs only the glasses that may be to help on his vision, to restore back his sight normally. Then there are those who may need maybe treatment, eye care treatment. We call out such services in different areas. But normally when we do that, we first call out to a camp where we can call out to a proper screening in different areas. For example, this year actually, we carried out a surgery in Mbale. We partnered with the Mbale hospital, main hospital, where the gift of sight, our gift of sight team went, and then after the screen, because we had carried out a screening area before, and then we identified the people actually who had the eyesight problems. Now those people were brought in the Mbale hospital, and then the process went on. We carried out over 60 cataract surgeries to those people, and actually their sight was restored, and they were able to move out of the hospital when their sight was restored. So this program actually, it is also a humanitarian development program. It is not that it is on a regular basis, but we go in different places and we see that if the need is there in this particular place, according to the statistics we get from our medical research, when we work with our different medical team, because we partner with the different hospitals, and then we ensure that we have the proper data, and then we go and they carry out such surgeries to help them have their sight restored back.
Abdul, finally on these programs, we have that is Gift of Knowledge or Knowledge for Life program. We know you're dealing with vulnerable people. You're dealing with the poor, rest among the poor. So what is this program like? What knowledge do you pass on? How do you conduct this?
Yes, thank you. So far, when it comes to knowledge for life, we very well know that in our current society, if you don't equip your mind with something, you obviously don't make it. So the way the world is set up, we have a lot of people who cannot continue. Like, that's why we are terming them as vulnerable ones. There might be a number of issues. Maybe they don't have school fees. Maybe they are not that bright in class and they can't get the marks. And so that kind of, because that's where we started with, that kind of group of people, if you equip them with maybe knowing how to run the sewing machine, maybe equipping them with IT, you take them for hairdressing and all that. And this is what Budaka, where our headquarters are, that institute started with. And then we have to get a number of programs to driving schools and all that, such that these people can still come in this institute and then be equipped with knowledge. And then they can be able to go and compete fairly in our open society. And then we have other, in Uganda so far we have 2 institutes, and but still Humanity First also looks on other, because this is what Humanity First has built up, like Budaka Institute, but as well we do we run partnership with other institutes. We have other schools that we if they need like buildings, they need classrooms, then Humanity First still gives them. You can reach some schools where there are no toilets. You know, they don't have libraries, they don't have computer libraries, and then Humanity First does the same. So this gives them an equal opportunity as those that have been the fortunate ones that have been able to make it in life. And then they can as well earn a living in our society.
Well, finally from Mugaya, we know issues of humanity, you've talked about charity. How do we ensure that Ugandans give towards this noble cause? Because for a long time, when you talk about charity, then you can think of the Western world. But I think it is time. COVID-19 has proven to us that there could be times when even those rely on are either hit more than we are, and they cannot keep this coming in. So in terms of sustainability of these activities, that will mean more generosity. So how do we push for this?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Exactly that is what has happened. Just like you put it, we've been having what we call donor countries like UK, Germany, Canada, USA that have been donating. Our biggest donors come from there. Then we've been having the recipient countries like Uganda, East African countries, most of the African countries. What happened is exactly what you said. They were hit much more than we were. So the things were reversed. What did we have to do? We have to embrace giving to humanity. We have to understand this cause. We have people in Uganda who are capable of donating, but we don't take it seriously, you know. We do not have that culture of really helping out one another. The difference between the West and probably Africa and many other developing countries is, you know, we don't care for one another. So this care for one another, care for the needy, care for the vulnerable, the poorest of the poor in societies is what people should understand. And by understanding it, we shall share whatever little you may have, whatever little I may have. We don't look at millions of money. We look at coins and small notes. We pull them together, and then we shall come up with something that we can use to help an orphan, that we can use to refurbish a borehole, that we can do this and the other. So, Robert, we are here to appeal to everybody. Not the government, not ministers, not what. Everybody can give towards charity. And this spirit should be inculcated within our communities. People should understand that all of us can give towards charity.
And how do a willing giver, you know, in my faith, say a willing, cheerful giver, how does he get in touch with you?
Yeah, I think we have our account number. Brother Isma can...
oh no, that's maybe a website. That could be better. Yeah. That's a person can. You know, yeah, time is not so much on our side.
Yeah, actually we can donate through our bank account here. We have the account number, if I can read it.
Those will be complicated. Just give us, you have a website?
Yes, we have a website.
Let's have the website.
It is www.humanityfirst.org. Actually, it is where you can go and find most of the information. Then we have our main website that incorporates each and every activities. That is www.humanityfirst.org. Okay. So that's even when someone can go even and donate. Yeah, even yesterday we had a global telethon and people were donating. So the appeal is going on, and we are keeping the ball rolling for everyone to do what? To keep on donating. So
well, I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, for having found time. There is a call for giving, and giving to the right cause. Let's embrace this. Let's give, because you never know when you'll be needy. If you inculcate this culture, then when that time happens, someone will be there to give to that noble cause because you gave. Sow a seed of giving. Let's inculcate this even from our young kids. When you're walking on the street, see a beggar, tell the child, from what you have, give, so that we grow up, we have the spirit of giving. Sometimes I feel offended, even when it comes to church. I'm a Christian, and it's time for giving, and you see someone touching, looking for that coin and leaving the note here to give to God who gives life, for Allah who gives life. Have a blessed day. God bless you. See you tomorrow with Good Morning Uganda. God bless you. Stay safe. COVID is still around.
I live in a small village called Lugunja.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
You know,